So I'm sitting on my bolster, but if you haven't got a bolster, which is mostly the case, these bolsters are fabulous. Lou and I were speaking about them the other day. If you like restorative yoga, they're really good. Mine's gone a bit floppy and soft, but they're usually a bit harder than this. They're full of kind of beans, but they're quite expensive. They're about 30 quid, the cheapest one that I've found. But instead you can use your 2 bricks and just sit on them, which means that you don't have all the pressure on your knees and the front of your feet, basically. But it's just to take a slightly different position from Sukhasana this morning. So just so that we can raise our hips up a bit, and as I say, you then get less pressure on the back of your legs and on the front of your knees and the front of your foot. So it's quite a nice way to sit. If it's not comfortable on your knees, then go into Sukhasana. Choice is yours. So please remember that always. I'm not telling you what to do. A lot of yoga classes, you'll find they invite you all the time to do things, but I'm Scottish, I don't talk that way, so forgive me, but the invitation is there to do whatever you feel like, not just follow what I'm telling you. Okay, so we're thinking of circles today. We're thinking of being well-rounded in our all shapes and sizes, and so we're going to take straight away a 360-degree breath, thinking of the whole body being used here. So find your breath first of all and just notice how well-rounded it feels. Does it feel like it's taking up just a little tiny part of your core at the moment? Is it making its way to one side of you, or maybe just the front or the back of you? Just notice it. Don't try and change it initially, just watch. Does it feel like it's moving in a circle itself? So is it the same inhale and exhale with just the same little transitions in between each end of that circle? Thinking of the inhale, exhale, moving round in a circle. Does it feel like you've got a full circle, or are you a bit oval this morning? So now we're going to take control of our breath, and by popping our hands at the top of our chest, fingertips together if you're comfortable, and then just do a couple of inhale, exhales, thinking at first of moving into your hands on the front of your body, but then try and move the breath right round the back of your shoulders at the same time. So it's not going down very far, but we're thinking of using the whole of the upper shoulder girdle and front of your chest in your inhale, exhale. So make it your inhale, exhale, make it really slow in your time. Again, it's an invitation to count to 4. It's your breath. Decide how long it feels comfortable this morning. Try and make it even. Try and find that full circle of inhale, exhale, with just the same little transition at either end. Just feeling the top of your ribs open and soften towards each other, and then the space between your shoulder blades is soft together there, and then as you breathe in, the shoulder girdle moves apart on the back of your body, and you feel that space spread across the upper back. And then continue controlling your breath and move your hands down to your ribs, just the base of your ribs that we usually hold, and fingertips touching, but don't worry too much about that this morning. Just begin then to take your breath a little bit further down into where your hands are resting on your ribs. So you might have to elongate your breath a little bit more to get down there. You might have to control it a little bit more and feel that you have to put a little bit more effort into the direction of the breath. Feeling the front of your ribs swelling and opening, and then the space between them softening. And then move your focus right round your ribs so that you're using the back of your ribs as well. The full circle of your ribs. They don't quite close at the front, but near enough it. The whole of your rib cage moving out, expanding, and softening, moving together. Not just across the diameter, but the whole of the rib cage That circle is more of a ball feeling. And then take the hands down to the belly. Same thing, the lower abdomen. Just have your fingertips touching again and move the breath right down through you. So at first it's probably easiest to connect to the belly moving as you inhale. And see if you can find the back of your pelvis and move it as well with the breath. As the breath enters, feel slight movements in the muscles across your lower back. Much harder to move that area because it's solid. Feel your hip area spreading. Feel that little bit more force you might be having to use to just gently draw your breath down a bit further as you inhale. All of your body softening as you exhale. Thinking of our diaphragm, which is like a diameter across the middle of us. As it spreads out into a full circle as we inhale, it moves down slightly and swells the belly and the pelvic area. There's a bit more pressure down there. As the exhale comes, it softens, moves up. And we get more space in the belly area. So balls and circles and lots of spherical shapes going on in our body, moving with our breath. And let go of the breath after your next exhale. Just take a second to watch it soften and return to its automatic state. Automotive. Notice if it's going in a different direction now or feeling a little bit wider, smoother, maybe even stronger, slower. Okay, so let's start to move on the breath. So inhale, arms come up above our head as we inhale and use the whole of the core if we can, the whole body. Hands together in Anjali Mudra, bring them down through the center. So kind of two circles we're making here as we inhale up really nice and slowly. Gather that energy in the palm of your hands. Bring the energy together into the palm of your hands as you Anjali Mudra, and then bring your hands down through, drawing the energy back, turning your hands towards your belly, maybe releasing that energy towards you, bringing it up and gathering it again. Take your own time, your own breath, just gently warming the shoulders up. See if it's the movement or your breath you're connecting more to. Which one's drawing your attention here? Take one more breath up. And bring the hands back down. And just at the bottom here, we're going to turn our hands into Dhyana Mudra. So your right hand and your left hand. So your left hand is holding your right hand on the top, all the way around. And your thumbs are just touching together. So if you can see my hand, it's just resting one palm on the other. And the thumbs just raise up a little bit and touch your thumb tips together. This is Dhyana Mudra. It's also known as Yoga Mudra. So it's a real balancing connection. So the bottom hand, the left hand, is a symbol of illusion and our illusion of existence, which is a bit deep for first thing on a Monday morning. And the right hand is a symbol of coming towards enlightenment, towards wisdom and awareness. And we're balancing the two together. We're also balancing our left and right brain. It slows your thoughts down using your hand connection. So find your breath again. Just take 3 breaths now. Trying to focus on the connection between your hands, between your thumbs. that little circle that you've kind of made with your thumbs and your palms. Trying to find that sense of balance. Okay, so then let go. Let go of the breath. We're going to move, so move anything that's underneath you. If you take these breathing practices or the mudra practices that I do, and sometimes you don't connect, sometimes it takes a while to connect with what you can. Might be your breath more something that you can relate to. Don't worry if I'm talking what seems to be gobbledygook at times. It eventually all comes together, or maybe it doesn't, and you find your own yoga. Okay, so we're going into mermaid again. We did mermaid a bit last week, so we're taking our legs off to one side. I've got my right hip underneath at the moment. We're just thinking of circles here, very gently. So we've got my right hand on the floor to support me here. I'm up in my fingertips, and we're just going to circle. Smaller circles to start, just circling. Start to feel you're moving your left shoulder to start with a circle. But then maybe as the circle gets bigger, then you maybe twist a little bit into it. Just take it slowly. You might find other parts of your body have to get involved. Your shoulders have to roll a little bit. Maybe your head's turning. Everything's following that circle. Start to move and loosen up through the upper back. Your ribs, your side ribs are opening. Just make it flow and easy, a nice circle, nothing wobbly. And then draw it back down into a smaller circle just in front of you. Now, a bit more difficult to go to the other hand. I put my left hand onto my foot as my support here. You might want to bring a brick in, or you might want to put your hand behind you on the floor on a brick again. Whichever feels comfortable. What we're trying to do is draw that left hip down a little bit, so we're not rocking over. And then we're going to use our right hand to make our circles. So a little bit more balance involved here. You might not find it, I do. Small circles to start. And then take them a bit wider. Putting in a bit of a twist if you can. Taking them as slowly as you can. The faster you go, the less benefit you'll find, I should think. You might do yourself an injury if you go too fast, so open up slowly. And then put the hand back to the right side again, and we're going to lift this time as we do 3 circles. So lifting up as we circle. And back down as you come down. So make it as big or as small as you want that circle. Can be just in front of your face if you want, but try and lift, starting to warm up and move and open the hips. It's feel a bit tight for me because I've sat down most of the weekend, it feels. Okay, so after 3 of those, I'm going to sit round and onto your knees. We're not here for too long, so don't worry. We'll take swimming arms now. So front crawl, first of all, making circles with one arm and then the other. Turning the palm and pushing the energy behind you as you front crawl. I don't know if anybody is a swimmer. There's a lot of movement in the hand in front crawl. So if you know those movements with the side of the hand, etc., take them in. But the thing we're doing here is just trying to do a little bit more of a twist as we go through and warming up the upper back and the chest. And then come to a standstill and take back crawl then. So same thing, but the other direction in circle. And as you're doing this, think of trying to find some space in your waist area between your ribs and your pelvis. Try and lengthen through your crown. Your head's not moving too much in this, but think of raising up through the crown. Think of drawing your tummy in. Not letting go of the posture completely, trying to find some length in the side bodies. And then come to a standstill. And we're going to raise up now and take our arms up behind us as if we're doing butterfly, I think this probably is. Tuck our chins, tuck our bellies, roll the hands forward together, soften the elbows, come down into a sort of cat back. Same thing again, 2 more. Lift up roll forward into a little bit of a forward fold feeling, come down. So as you go up, you're thinking of coming into a bit of a back bend this time, and then rolling forward. So it's really just a version of cat-cow that we're doing here. So cows on the way up, breathing in, lifting, extending, rolling forward and coming back down. And then we're going to step forward with our right foot into low lunge. I'm going to do it facing this time. Okay, so it's a kind of gentle low lunge. The back knee might still be under the hip rather than going too far forward, whichever feels more comfortable for you this morning. If you want to stretch forward a little bit, just make sure your front knee is over your ankle and make sure your back foot is disappearing. So you can see, you can't see mine now. It's straight behind my knee and I've got a lot of hip opening here in the front of my hip. If you don't want that this morning, sit up a little bit taller. Okay, so wherever you are, we're going to pop our left hand onto our right thigh, and then we're just going to circle that right arm. So take it slowly, there's a bit of balance involved here, so you have to engage your feet. Take the twist in as well, look forward, look behind you. Use a little bit of gentle movement in the neck. Think of that space again between the waist. Think of pressing gently into your front foot and your back knee, just to lift yourself a little bit taller as you rotate. And then stop and go the other side. So hand on right hand and right thigh. This is a bit wobbly, so prepare yourself before you do it. Okay, so hand the other way, looking behind us, which we did a lot of last week. Very gentle ease into a Monday morning here. Still using yoga poses to help us release any tightness and tension from the weekend, any stagnation. And then come to a standstill. Put your hands to the floor, step your foot back, and come down into mermaid on the other side now. So remember which side you sat on, same thing. We're going to go the same way again. So left hand onto floor to start to draw your circle across in front of you with your right arm, maybe taking it behind you, that circle. Getting bigger and bigger the circle, finding your waist again, particularly on your left hand side. Think of that space between your ribs and your pelvis. Think of the space between each rib. You can maybe even put a little bit of a cat back into it as you roll forward and then open upwards. And then come to the other side. So pop your hand wherever feels comfortable, excuse me. Sink that right hip or the upper hip down a little bit more. Find the support with your hand on the floor or on your foot. Same thing other ways. So take your, now which way am I going? Notice which way my hand went. So we're opening up on the left arm this time. A bit creakier on this side for me, a little bit difficult with the balance. You'll feel you have to switch on your tummies a bit more here. Draw your tummies in to support that lower back. Can't quite get the same size of circle on this side. My left shoulder's not playing this morning. And then come to neutral point, come back up onto your knees. We'll take the swimmers the other way this time. So back crawl first. Maybe starting with your left hand if you started with your right the last time. So trying to go a slightly different way. As you back crawl, when you turn your hand, it's a bit confusing, but your back edge goes into the water, the long edge of your hand goes into the water, and then the hand rotates on the wrist as you back crawl if you're a swimmer. So you cut through the water with your hand as you go back over. And then come into front crawl straight away. So while we front crawl, just notice what's happening with the tummy. Is it releasing forward? I've got quite a lower back lordosis problem, so my spine goes forward. So I have to really think about drawing that tummy in sometimes, otherwise my bottom sticks out, and it's not great for your lower back if you do that. So think about your tummy here. And then come to neutral again. Let's take our cat-cow, but come up the way this time. So we're taking cat first. We're drawing the hands forward, we're taking them up and then we're circling them back, which is much more difficult in your shoulder area. So it's much more opening in the chest this way. So cat first, rolling up, lifting up onto the knees, opening the face up towards this corner, taking the shoulder blades together as you come back and sit down. Take 2 more in your own time. You have to think about this one a little bit more. Going against the grain, anti-clockwise. So we inhale as we raise up, find the whole of that breath moving down through the body. We exhale as we roll back down. Take 1 more, inhale up. And exhale, roll back down. Bring your left foot forward this time. We'll take the circles on the other side. Decide on the width of your low lunge. And take your right hand to your left knee, first of all, left thigh. Start your circles. Woo, can't get the balance. So that was my problem there, was I hadn't switched on my lower half to find that stira. And part of my problem is my ankle is not under my front knee. So I had stretched too far. So if you wobble, maybe that, maybe that you're not on a train track, you're more on a tightrope. Try and let your neck come into that little bit of a twist we're putting in here. Feel the movement again between the ribs and the pelvis on the side body. And then go the other way. So hand to knee changes and we go the other side, the open side. So here you might find yourself lifting with this circle. As you open up and lift up. Using your knees and your foot to propel you and find some rebound. Make it really smooth and connected, this circle. And then hands to the floor, knees come back together. And then we're just going to circle our hips in tabletop. So find your tabletop first of all, connect to your tummy. Connect to your crown, connect to your chin, connect to your sit bones, make sure your hips feel over your knees. Let's get the alignment right first. And then just gently start to rotate at your hips in one direction. Doesn't matter which way you go to start. Little circles maybe to start and then getting a little bit bigger. As you get bigger, you'll find you're starting to circle through your shoulders as well. Maybe taking your hips back down a little bit as you move into almost a dynamic cow feeling. Your hips are going down towards your heels. And then slowly make the circles smaller until you come back to neutral. Stop, take a breath, and then start the other direction. Small circles first of all, in the other direction. Feeling the rotation start to go through your knees as well as you get bigger. With those circles through the palms of your hands. Through your shoulders, let your shoulders get really involved. Maybe let your elbows soften as you put in a little bigger circle each time. And then slowly start to make your circles get smaller. And smaller until they come back and you're back to a neutral stop in tabletop. Take a breath or two there, just stay still for a second, eyes closed. Engage with what's happening, what energy you've started to move. Does your body still feel as if it's going in one direction? Or has it found a neutral point? If you still feel like you're circling, engage your glutes, engage your tummies, engage your heart, moving it forward slowly between your arms and squeeze that spot between your shoulder blades. Engage that chin tuck and engage that feeling of elongating from tailbone right through to crown. Open your eyes, look at the floor, find that connection, find the stability. Find yourself back at the start of the movement. Okay, so then we're going to come down onto the floor. You might want a cushion here for your heads We're going to take arm circles on our sides. So pop something under your neck if you need to be raised up. I've got quite wide shoulders, so my head sticks up a bit and it's uncomfortable on the side of my neck, particularly if I do this without a cushion or a block. Find your ear at the front corner of your block or cushion and bring yourself into a chair position with your legs. Hands are together in Anjali Mudra. So rather than doing Robin Hood here today, we're going to go the other way. We're going to do the circles up and round our head and bring them back across our thighs. So we're taking our hand, first of all, the top hand, bottom hand stays still. Top hand traces across the floor, up above our head. At the top, you're going to have to rotate your shoulder, bring the back of your hand towards the floor then. Draw yourself right round, as far round as you can. Big twist across the upper body. Elbow can soften. I haven't got the space here, so bring the hand round then. Turn it back down, palm down, brushes across your thighs. So you're rotating through the shoulder as you do this. Take 2 more in your own time. I'm going to move a little bit so I've got space here. Okay, so rotate, creeping across the floor up above your head. Elbows can be soft. But thinking of length in the side body here, rotate from the shoulder through the upper chest, through to the back of the hand. Big stretch down the outside of the chest muscles here on the front of the body. Bring the hand down, still in a big circle, stretching it out. Turn the palm so it's facing down the way, and then draw it back across your thighs. Rotate through your shoulders, come back to the beginning. So we're going to take one more. We're going to stop at the open point here in Jathara Parvrtti. So we've taken ourselves into a twist this way. So open up by taking the hand across the head, turning and twisting through the shoulder. Feel the body start to twist. Try and keep your knees as close together as you can. And you come over into your twist. So if that's really open feeling across the front of your left chest there, let your knees separate slightly and your left hip draw back so it releases your left shoulder more towards the floor. So we're in a twist, but we're not quite forcing ourselves into it here. We're halfway through the circle. If you're comfortable, you can let your head roll to look towards your left hand. And that may release that side of your chest a little bit more. What we're going for is both shoulders on the floor here if we can. So let your legs come with you. Often we let the shoulders go with the legs when we go into a twist. We're doing it the other way today. Letting the shoulders take the lead and the legs just follow. If you have to let them go a bit, then that's fine. And then begin to finish the circle now by rotating the wrist and turning the palm down and bringing it back across your thighs and back to the front again. Get rid of the brick for a second, keep it close by, and then rotate onto your back. So roll onto your back. Bring your right knee in and your left knee in and find yourself in Asanas. Hands on your knees and just take some circles one way and then the other, stirring the pot with your knees. So maybe little circles, maybe getting bigger, making them as slow as you can as you stir the pot. Keep the tummies engaged. Feel that circular movement through both hips here, through both hip joints. Make sure you go both ways. Letting the legs be soft and guided by your hands rather than holding on with the muscles there if you can. And then pop one foot to the floor and then the other foot to the floor. And roll over onto your other side. And we're going to take Jathara Parvrtti on the other side. So I'm facing the wrong way. You'll get my back here, sorry. So we're going to do 2 openings with our arms and then we're going to stay in Jathara Parvrtti, a little twist for a second. So knees bent in chair shape. Right hand in my case is now coming up across the top. I'm rotating and opening through the chest, rolling the head with me, taking that full circle behind me. My hand might come off the floor a bit. Turn the palm down and bring it back across your thigh. Take one more like that on your own time. Thinking of that big circle you're drawing here, opening up through the right side of your chest, or in my case it is. And then the next one we're going to take and we're going to open up and stay open in our Jathara Parvrtti twist. So let your legs just come with you to allow your right shoulder or the upper shoulder to take to the floor. So find that spreading feeling across the shoulder girdle. Might be very tight through your upper chest and armpit area here. If it is, draw your arm in a little bit more towards your head rather than stretching out. Just let your hips come with you. Let them come into the twist to follow the shoulder. And let your head roll if you can to look towards your right side. Just take a couple of breaths here. Feeling that space in your right side body, but also feeling the space in your left underneath. If time gave us more time, then we would stay here a bit longer, but we're going to move now. So bring in the final part of that circle. Turn your hand across your thigh, come back to the start. Take the brick away, roll onto your back. One last movement. Heels in close to your bottom as if you were going to go into bridge. And then tip your feet up, your toes up, and let your heels go straight out away from you to stretch your legs out. And then draw them round in a big circle out the way as if you're doing frog's legs. We often do this sitting down. So finish your circle back where you started in bridge legs. Take your toes and heels away from you, straight down. Rotate and draw them round back up towards your hips in a circle and stop. Go the other way now. Take them out in a big circle from the bridge leg position. Stretch out, draw the heels back together at the bottom, back into where you started. One more of those. So if any of these feel really good this morning, take them again after we finish. Bring the heels back in. Take a breath. Stretch one leg away from you, stretch the other leg away from you. Take your feet a little wider, let your feet fall out, come into Shavasana just to finish. Take a couple of breaths in Shavasana. Not an incredible amount of movement this morning, but hopefully we've loosened the two main big joint areas in our body, and which moves everything else in between them. And then when you're ready, we're going to roll over and come up to finish in Sukhasana. As usual, I think I've written a 45-minute class this morning, but never mind. So just in Sukhasana to finish, let's take our Dhyana Mudra again. So our left hand under our right and our thumbs come together. In Sukhasana, much easier to just rest your elbows onto your thighs to support you. And maybe round forward a little bit, or not round, but lean forward maybe a little bit. Find that long front body, long back body. But connect to your hands, connect to that mudra, that seal that we've made there. That little circle. And then find your breath and take 3 breaths again, finding that circular shape of the breath. You might have to sit up a little taller if you want to find the full breath. We'll come full circle back to the beginning. Life's a big circle. When I'm thinking about being well-rounded, some of us are more rounded than we want to be at this point of our life. If you think back to when you were about 16, maybe physically, that we're a bit more rounded than we want to be. But as a person, if you think back to your 16-year-old self today, I think we're all a bit more rounded than we were then. And every day we get a little bit better, a little bit more rounded. So just sit up now, pop your hands into Anjali Mudra to finish our practice. Semicircle as we dip our nose down towards the tips of our fingers and say Namaste. May the light in me always greet the light in you.